All right, let's dive in. Today, we're talking about something that might just change the way you look at every single challenge you face. We're calling it the illusion of limits.
So, let me just start with this question, because it's really the heart of everything we're going to talk about. We've all been there, right? Staring at what feels like a giant, unmovable wall in our path. But what if it's not actually a wall? What if it's just an illusion?
Okay, so let's talk about these walls in our minds, because that's really where they are. We all live inside these invisible boxes made of rules, assumptions, and what we think are our boundaries. And the crazy thing is, we usually don't even notice them, but they totally dictate what we believe is possible.
Yeah, we tell ourselves stories about these so-called hard limits. You know the ones. You're either born talented or you're not. The rules are the rules. You can't change them. You have to own something to make it valuable. Well, today, we're going to take a hammer to 3 of those myths and see what's really on the other side.
All right, first myth on the chopping block, the creative genius. You know this one. It's the whole idea that some people just, poof, are born creative. It's like this magical gift from the universe, and either you've got it or you don't. End of story. And this quote from Dr. Reeves at the University of Texas really hits the nail on the head. He says, when we talk about creativity as a talent, we're basically saying it's something you're born with or without. It's fixed. And wow, is that a limiting way to think about ourselves? But let's flip that on its head for a second. What if creativity isn't some magic gift at all? What if it's just a skill, something you can actually practice and get better at, just like anything else? And the research backs this up with something called deliberate practice. Now, this is not just practicing for the sake of it, like playing the same song over and over. No, this is super focused. It's about finding your exact weak spots, breaking them down, and hammering away at them with constant feedback. It's work. And this slide just lays it out perfectly. Look at the difference. Most of us, the moderate performers, we practice the fun stuff, the things we're already good at. It feels great, right? But the elites, they do the exact opposite. They hunt for the ugly, difficult parts, the stuff they suck at, and they obsess over it. They break it into tiny pieces and just grind until it's perfect. That's the secret sauce.
So the big reveal here is that what we call genius is almost never some magical gift. It's the result of grueling, focused work. It's built piece by piece, not just handed to you at birth.
Okay, let's move on to myth number 2, the perfect rule. This is a big one. It's this belief we have that for things to work, we need crystal clear, black and white rules for everything. And check this out. This quote comes from the world of law. They literally call ambiguity one of the deadly sins of lawyering. I mean, their entire job is to stamp out any gray area. It just shows you how terrified we are of uncertainty.
But hold on a second. In the real world, which is messy and always changing, is that obsession with perfect clarity actually a weakness? Could a little bit of fuzziness actually be a superpower?
This is where we meet the masters of ambiguity. These are leaders who look at uncertainty and don't panic. Instead, they see an opportunity. They get that a rule isn't just a rule. Its meaning changes depending on the context, and they use that to their advantage. Now, this isn't about being a rebel and just breaking all the rules. Not at all. It's smarter than that. It's about understanding the game so well that you can shape how the rules are understood. That's a whole different level of strategy.
And that brings us to our third and final myth, the need to own everything. I mean, our whole economy is pretty much built on this idea, right? That to create something valuable, you have to lock it down, put your name on it, and keep everyone else out.
And this is such a cool comparison. On one side, you have copyright. Its whole job is to say, no, you can't use this. It's all about exclusion and creating scarcity. But then on the other side, you have this brilliant idea called copyleft. It actually uses the power of copyright law to do the complete opposite, to force sharing. It basically says, sure, you can use this, but whatever you make with it has to be open for everyone else too. It's kind of a legal judo move.
And what happens when you do that? Well, you get things like Wikipedia, an explosion of collaboration. Innovation just skyrockets because people aren't reinventing the wheel, they're building on each other's work. It proves this amazing idea that information is a non-rival good. The more people use it, the more valuable it becomes. Value comes from the community, not from locking things up.
So yeah, it totally flips the script. Instead of creating value by holding things back, you create this incredible wave of abundance just by sharing. Okay, so we've busted 3 huge myths. So what? Let's bring it all home and talk about what this means for you. How do we start thinking about limits in a totally new way? So we've seen that talent isn't really a thing. It's practice. We've seen that perfect rules can actually be a trap. And we've seen that ownership isn't the only game in town. The bottom line? These walls we see everywhere are way more like curtains than concrete.
And this right here, this might be the most important idea of the whole explainer. We have to learn the difference between a real limitation, like a dead end, game over, and a constraint. A constraint is just a rule of the game. It's a boundary. And here's the kicker. Constraints aren't the enemy. They're actually your best friend. They're what force you to get creative. So the big idea isn't to live in some fantasy world with no rules, no way. The goal is to get really, really good at telling the difference between a real wall and one that's just in your head. And then you learn how to use those walls as a launch pad. So I'll just leave you with this to chew on. Think about your own life, your own work. What's the one wall you're facing right now that if you just looked at it a little differently, might actually be a starting block?